Hello, it's Lee. Well, I guess the title will speak of itself as to the purpose of the video. And I wanted to say to everybody that while there might be remnants of skepticism and while there may be, perhaps put it this way, we're all sort of waiting to exhale at this point and see what's coming. There is, as many people know, a building tension in the world right now. And this is because there is a big change that is very soon to come. And it will be actualized and it will be reality. It will be tangible and noticed by each and every one. Now I wanted to just basically say, I don't know how long the video will be, so go the whole distance or not, you be the judge. I hope you will sense my intention for love and for truth. Without truth and love mixed together deeply, and they really should go hand in hand, don't they? Well, such as you have it. So in this mode, here I wish to address whoever may watch the video, and let's get started. We are about to, worldwide, everybody here, everybody who's been inhabiting this earth for whatever point in history up until now, we are about to have a great awakening, which is also a lovely thing called, as well, disclosure. As our evolution of consciousness has gone from souls in simple states to become the minds and hearts that we are now, basically soul evolution, various planets and systems are needed to have this achievement. There's no such thing as evolving from an amoeba and turning into a human. There's no such thing as living only once. People need to do a real in-depth search, first on what they are, because when you discover what you are on the inside, deeply, deeply and truly, then the outer world makes a lot more sense. Similarly, we can also look at the outside world and have this speak to us and give us reasons of identity and understandings. I guess you might say the two go as one, but some are focusing more on the external as opposed to the internal, and putting that as a priority. Well, this may create a lot of difficulties. Now, it's hard to know exactly which points I wish to say, because there's a lot of things I'm trying to fit into a small short video. But let's face it, anyone who's done a little bit of research and importantly, and most importantly, who's had a little bit of experience with extraterrestrials knows indeed that they are very real, that the vast majority of them are very benevolent, loving and helpful. And their souls have evolved to the state in which they're at, and they will use materials, things, right, palpable matter, etc., to serve purposes of their own continued self-discovery. We as humans must realize that we are a small step behind, and actually at this point right now it is a hair's breadth away, on the precipice indeed, of us going into our own, let us call, what a bad word, space, but space travel and galactic and intergalactic things. However, while we've been introduced to these ideas slowly, yet rapidly over the last little while, last couple of decades, the souls that are in human bodies have had the very nice chance of being able to accelerate this. People talked a lot about 2012, and a lot of people perhaps were disappointed in December because nothing seemed to have happened. Well, December 21st, and some people might say a day or two before or after that, all that was meant was that by that approximate time, the human mind and soul, and they are one, would become ready for something, an awakening. Now, as long as we're giving up our ear and our hearts and our loyalties even to worldly governments that are not in our best interest, then we will be duped by them. And let's put it this way, people that have done next to no research whatsoever on real spirituality, the light and the dark, the occult, the hidden reasons and purposes of things, internal soul searching, the depths and layers of reality. If a person is living in a 9-to-5 sort of lifestyle, they do their job for survival, then they go home and live with their distraction, have some entertainment, looking after kids, but whatever, watching TV, this, that, the other, and they're not really looking at what's going on. Well, if you're that person, the changes that are coming are going to be a lot more difficult, because things will come as a shock as opposed to something that you were, to varying degrees, prepared for. There are many people who are called New Agers and this and that, and I'll consider myself one of them. These are just names. But in reality, there is a New Age coming. Now, a lot of people have been talking about these things for a little while. In fact, people were always talking about soul and reality and different layers and levels of reality, levels of hells, levels of heavens, dimensions and dimensional awareness, and the interconnectedness that everything does have a part of. We can say in this way that God is the one isness of which all belong to. Now, I don't want to get too off topic, but I do have to keep the spiritual with the extraterrestrial, because people often get sort of a sci-fi idea, or the connotations that is physical reality and spaceships and this and that. But it is the experience that the soul is having. Now, extraterrestrials are as real as you and I. And in fact, as their souls had been out from the source longer, they have had a longer time to develop to where we are. If we are a later exhalation from source, the souls that are coming here, we have had less time to work with isness. Now, what is happening in the world is evidence beyond shreds of doubts at this point. But since at least half the world is lending their ear to what government says, they wouldn't lie to me. They love me. Well, if they loved you so much, then they wouldn't put you and I in all sorts of troubles with the taxation, the enslavement of various forms, manipulating people to the point of keeping people in conflict deliberately. They deliberately want that so that we do not unite. The world governments are not your friend. They are not my friend. Only some very precious sweethearts who are within, working as it were as white hats. They may be your friend. And very pressuring sources. It's not that they get away with everything. They've been lied to and have lied to themselves and thinking, wow, look what we got away with. But now it has come to their attention pointedly that they've got away with zilch. And the crimes that they have done, while they may be for overall karmic purposes for everybody involved, but for them to play that role and even enjoy it, what is going to fall upon their heads is only their very own doing, and the amends that they'll have to make will be one such thing. It is ultimately for them to say into themselves, never mind punishments and different sorts of things, they can be very real, but the point is for a soul to realize deeply and truly, when I do this, this must happen. If I do that, that must happen. There is action, reaction, and consequences to all we do. So it is really as simple as that. Now as for the ET, they're already here. They always were here. They existed before the Earth did. And we are simply getting the validity. Let's just look at it logically, never mind proofs. Because I've had proofs of that they're real, and so have very many countless people. But the point is, we can even look at it in a logical sense that we, as humans, with this and that technology, if we are about to be able to go out and do things, I'm not talking about a so-called moon landing here and this and that there, but I'm talking en masse, as it were, as a race of human beings. It's not white, black, Asian, As a race of human beings, we have come to that development. And the wise thing to say and to realize, is that we're not the first to do so. There is no Big Bang in which everything started from, and before that there was nothing. Out of something, something comes. And there are many pockets going in and out at all times, and things going out and things coming back. This will be a different topic perhaps as a focus, but I'll talk a little bit about it in other videos and what's to come to. But the fact is, let's just look at it logically. What's there is there. It is not dependent on if we believed it or not. A truth is a truth. As for our ET friends, if we're just calling this Earth Terra, then they are simply not bound, as we seem to be, to Terra. Their schooling has not been on Terra. They come from here, there, and anywhere. Now, they may indeed be seen just about any day, every day by, well, let me rephrase that. They are in fact seen every single day by human beings. Whether it was seeing something in this space, in the skies moving about, whether they were incognito, or whether they are talking to people sitting at a table. Just because a person didn't necessarily experience that, doesn't mean that others did not. So while this does seem funny and a difficult topic for some people, and they don't want to look at it or this and that, anytime we laugh at it, it's just based on an inner denial and or an uncertainty. But yes, the ego must be kept in check, and the wise soul does enter the kingdom, as it were, as a child, in a state of innocence, with a heart full of grace, and a mind to find truth as it is. Now, disclosure is here. It already started happening. And whether or not the government did such, whether or not there were movies introducing people to the idea of other beings and space travel and this and that, this has been introduced to people through fiction, but it actually is a non-fiction. Done by fiction first, because fiction can give us the idea of suspended judgment. Oh, wouldn't it be interesting if, wouldn't that be nice if that was so? And this, that, and the other, you know, Star Wars movies and Star Trek and these sort of things. These are a fictionalized way of introducing the truth, and it is truth. Are we not about to be able to do that? Of course. Now, as for the beings that are out there, there are very many races, and thankfully for us, the ones that often, or most often, reveal and communicate with human beings are ones that look very much human, and if not that, very much humanoid, to the point where we would not be afraid of them. There are some ones that may look frightening, and they may not be bad at all and have negative intentions whatsoever. So that is also for us to keep in mind. Let's put it this way in a logical sense. If they were able to advance to that point and get out there and have these technologies and these supreme powers and such, not just manipulating matter and how, oh, I can fly a ship and shoot laser guns or plasma weapons, but spiritual, natural spiritual evolution, telekinesis, telepathy, this, that, and the other. All these are real, and I've experienced a few of these, them showing it to me, and so have very many people. Now the thing is, there are a lot of people that are anxious, because there are those of us dying for the disclosure, saying, well, about time, we knew it already, we didn't need their permission to have discussions and encounters with these beings. They'll do it to whom they choose. And they've done it to a lot more people than who have even realized it. Some kind of encounter, some visitation. And then there are those on the other far extreme, nah, it's all nonsense, da 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 da. Well, for those who say such, someone like me can only say, well, your experience or your willingness to accept it may be based on a vanity, may be based on an attachment to things as they are, and any paradigm shift is difficult, any soul change is difficult. Perhaps. And perhaps the person just didn't dedicate any time to really looking into the matter. Is it true? Never mind if I want it to be true. Is it real? Is it fiction? Maybe there's something more. So you have two extremes, people that know it is real, people that think it is not and would fight hard to say that it is not, definitely not. And then there are those who are, yeah, okay, and then varying degrees of belief, and belief at one crucial point turns into actual knowledge. And there are those who say, well, I don't believe I've had experience, but I know deep down that it must be real. I believe that it is, that they are real. Well, this earth is about to see it. those who have thought themselves powerful and strong emperors and this, that, and the other on the planet, humiliating reality is coming for them very much. And it's not a threat from me, and it's not even a threat from them. A change will be a change. It's like when someone comes along and introduces a better way and gives this idea that the continuance of that is unacceptable, and those who are not of that vibe are no longer going to mingle with you. You see, because we've been going through a spiritual process of growth and maturing as individuals who are looking for truth and honor and love and wisdom and respect, compassion, all these things, and it's all really united into one. And then those who are going along with it, but with a lot more caution, or maybe there's varying degrees of caution, necessary and unnecessary caution. But if we want to consider ourselves wise, then we have to say, look at reality and say, well, what is happening? What is happening? Because the changes that are and have been happening on the earth leading up to a crucial moment, as it were, of graduation, well, that's just it. And as people are talking, and there is that word to be used, the quarantine, that those souls who are considered decent and good, even holy, honorable people who prefer love and truth, and who are not connivers, schemers, liars, cheats, thieves, etc. These are the souls who are worthy of the graduation from this type of planetary existence, and that is a simple fact. You can call it a graduation into a kingdom of heaven, you can call it an enlightenment, you can call it many things. Getting out of jail, or getting out of the hospital, or getting out of the school. You can look at it in many ways, use your own terms. But this is very real. We are about, many of us, are about to experience a fresh, brand new start that is going to be so much better than the reality we've been experiencing here. As for those who are not ready, who are still full of pride, hate, greed, jealousy, different forms of malice, on the list goes, they are not going to freely roam as they might like to think. They will have to stay within quarantine types of conditioning. And they did it to themselves. It wasn't against their will. They chose the path of hate, greed, ferocious competition, this, that, and the other. It doesn't matter what names and we want to give them. It's that cult, it's that person's fault. It doesn't matter. It's the darkness inside of all of us. But so many of us have been able to put it down. Now, as for the extraterrestrial races, the vast majority of them have no need for that. They can fight, they can shoot. Yes, they could have blown up the planet, they could have wiped us out ridiculously easy with a very tiny effort. Picture yourself in a flying craft, all beefed up in all the types of weaponry, and just incinerate a tribe of helpless whoever. Right? By helpless I mean not able to compete in the ways of combat. Now the point being, we have been taught, and now we are joining this, at first galactic, but simultaneously intergalactic, let's even just say cosmic awareness. And we didn't need to go somewhere to already have it. The Christ consciousness, the Buddha mind, this frequency of mind and heart already realized this and knows this, and this is a free gift for everybody. The best stuff indeed in existence is absolutely free, because it is our, to use the term, God-given right. We are of source, we are part and parcel of the divine isness self, and our natural rights is into this. But what we have been doing in these types of earth schools, this is just one earth school out of very many. There are others going through the same process as us right now, who have been, who will be. And our process is about to be into something much nicer. And those who have been talking about it and have been trying to introduce it to by talking about love and wisdom and truth, the honorable ways, blending religion and science, to use those words, into one beautiful combination, one isness of itself. People that have been on this wavelength, have been talking about it, are the ones who are very much ready for it. You see, I'll tell you the truth. My wife and I and many friends have had visions, dreams, and that in and of itself a lot, but also tangible encounters in different types of ways with different beings. And that's a lot of people. And that's actually a lot more people who would even recognize it. What was the old saying? People have entertained angels unaware. Because a lot of them that come down here look exactly like us. They can get away with the incognito very easily. And I've seen those too. And when you know, you know. Because their eyes speak a gigantic volume. And it is undeniable. Now, this being the case, people that have been hungering for it, though there was an old quote from the yogi sage Patanjali, that truth, reality, call it what you will, is closest to the one who desires it most. And people that have been hungering for this great revelation, this great disclosure, this, that, and the other, these are the ones who are best prepared to accept what is about to happen. Because let's just say this: when the disclosure comes, because people need to have an authority, because they don't want to be an authority for themselves. We all should be an authority unto ourselves, viewing nobody that necessarily has to be superior. Essentially, we all become the same thing. But for people that need a human authority, as it were, to tell them about these things factually, well, that's coming too. And that's going to give many of us a great sigh of relief, going, about time. I'll give you an example. If, let's say, tomorrow or at the end of the week or at the end of the month, our star friends came down en masse, I am going to be someone who's going to be tears of joy and say, goodness gracious, about time. And there are many like me who are waiting for that exact moment to occur. And there are others who are going to go, who are they? Are they my enemy? And there are two types of those who are going to think that. Those who have been doing a lot of wrongdoing, and those who have been doing no real research on it, and just been sort of a little bit ignorant or a little bit sitting on the fence. And it's not making fun of those people, but it's saying, did you take the time to embrace reality or not? That's what it comes down to. Now, there's a lot of world news lately where you can read between the lines and you see a lot of things are going on. Read between the lines. Read between the lies, read between the lines. And a lot of things speak for themselves very plainly. Those who are dark and who are manipulating this planet, their reign of terror is over. If we had simply said a while ago, no, not listening to it, and did it with enough numbers, they would be able to do nothing. They could not kill enough people, they could not put enough people in jail. But it takes such and such amount of time to being prepared for it to come to a reality. Nonetheless, their time is done. There's just a little tiny bit more. When they come and show themselves to all, and they will, they already are, but they will, then the safety and security that comes with that, because they are not malicious, the safety and security that comes with that is going to be answering all hopes that the heart has. There will be a great peace. But for those who have not been looking at it and who are still making fun of it to the day, there will be a shock. A lot of people are going to be caught off guard, but at the same time, they're not going to. No one is able to say at this point, "Well, I heard nothing about it," because it is out there. The preparation has been going on. It's been going on for a very long time. There are people 1,000 years ago, 2,000, 5,000 years ago who have been encountering them. They didn't know what to call them. They used references to mention flying ships, and they said, "Oh, it's a silver plate," or it's a flying chariot. They didn't know what to call it. They didn't have the frame of reference. But these things have been going on for a very long time. Let's be very thankful about that. That's not just something that just randomly happened. It's purposeful. in ancient scriptures, and before these books were taken out of the actual Bible itself, the Judeo-Christian tradition and all that, they were called the Watchers. They've been here overseeing things. And the ones of good heart and of the majority, yes, they've been called angels. Now there are some have bodies, and there are some that are more interdimensional, that are not so much physical, but that is a reality. So, just some thoughts I wish to pass off. Disclosure is around the corner. If someone wants to make fun of me in this video, go for it. My confidence is beyond human confidence in these matters. It is not my ego and this combination that in part created an ego and with a name called Lee. But the confidence that speaks to people about these things is beyond human. And voila, it shall be so. We have remnants of doubt because we're waiting for someone else to say it. But guess what? Permission was never needed. I'm not going to go into details of things for myself, but I've had enough encounters and sights and things where there's no disclosure needed for me. It's just, when it happens, myself and those like me who have already had enough exposure to them are going to say, "Ah, we told you so, good. Now everybody knows." Anyway, maybe the video is too long. Hope it wasn't too boring or anything like that, but this is reality. I'm going to feel very good when everybody knows, and I can just go, ah, well, there's a justification. And many have been working very hard to get this to happen. Many have been doing it in ways of putting pressures. I'm not talking about force and violence or something like that, but there are those who are human, who are like you and I, who have lots of dealings and who've been talking about it publicly and who've been making videos and doing things. The push is on. The time of secrets is over. Enlightenment is at hand, definitely, in a myriad of ways. Let's be happy and let's embrace it. It is our future. We are welcomed into a heavenly brotherhood, sisterhood, family, let's just call it that. It was our destiny from the get-go. It can never but come to that. It can only come to that. But cruel, selfish individuals who are still attached to evil things, they need some to further wean off of their vibration before they can experience other things. Now people ask about bad races. Well, why are they allowed to be out there? Well, anytime there is a bad ET race, I'm talking physically, that is out there, since the majority of the beings who are developed in that area are not evil and malicious, they will quarantine these beings and put them on planets and strip them of their powers and technology. And they will become, eventually they will become spirits, and they will have to go through many processes of incarnations and thus learn the ways of righteousness, thus become properly balanced. Let's just call it that, become properly balanced. So all is as it should be. These are my thoughts for today. I'm so happy and confident in this matter, I can't even express it with my weak human words. I feel bad for other people that are very resistant to it, or even violently resistant to it. I don't even mean violent necessarily, but sometimes, necessarily to the extremes of physical enactment of violence. But a denial that speaks forth viciously. A lot of people who watch YouTube videos are so extremely, I mean, westernized culture that went to such a degree of being so decadent and spoiled that yes, people will give a reaction, and it's based on nothing. They have no experience at all. It's just a program denial. They see something, and the program goes, that's not good, and they go, that's not good. But it is not that person's self even saying it. It's just the ego conscious part that got tripped up a little bit. Break away of these things and understand a beautiful reality. Perhaps you are someone who has seen things. Perhaps you are someone who's watched a lot of videos. There's lots of farces and fake things out there, yes. And those fake things, well, I guess they're there for an ultimate reason of some kind. For those who are not ready, they need to have a laugh and to feel a bit secure on these matters. But at the same time, there are a lot of videos and stories that are very true, and there will be more, and the time of everybody's awareness will be at hand. You see, the E.T. brethren, just to call them that, are very sweet in that they didn't go out of their way to force anything on us. They didn't go out of the way to shove it in our face. They've been so subtle. They've been ever so subtle. Sometimes they will do grand displays of things, but their preference is invitation, subtlety. And they work in mysterious ways indeed. And it is good, and we are becoming as they are. There's not, you're there and I'm here and this and that. It is a fellowship of oneness, the way of one, the great Tao, the reality that we, by default nature, come into. Our awareness, consciousness itself does develop into that. Emotions develop into that. So, leave it at that for now. Namaste and blessings sincerely. There are many videos out there on this topic, so my video may not be, thousands of views and such a thing like that. But anyway, I'll just another person echoing and repeating what was already said, and I'm happy to do so. And those who know, know, and there's no need to convince anyone that has already had enough encounters, and many more very soon. In fact, the whole world very soon is going to have this understanding factually. If you have been looking into it and are ready for it, then you are ready for it. If you're not, it may come as a bit of a shock. I hope people won't panic. That's my biggest fear, is the fear of others, that they will be all very unbalanced and terror and full of fear and terror. There's no need to be. If you've done wrong, maybe there's need to be. May the force be with you, etc. Catch you on the flip side. Check out my other videos if you like. Take care.